What's up, guys? We're gonna roll beats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys the melody guide. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned posted on, just do so because it does help it a lot. Just hop right into it. So this melody guide has a few rules I want to go over, and I have a text document you can download in the description or in the comment section. So the first one is to just use one VST. All right, just one. Now you can add more later, but just keep it one for each melody. And the second one would to be use the 4 main components. Now there are 5, but the 4 main ones are the most important. Those are chords, bass notes, support notes, and of course the melody. And the 5th one is a thing I like to call linger notes, and I'll go more in detail on what those are in the video. All right, and the 3rd one is to do 2 to 5 melodies a day for a week or a month. And the reason for it is just so you can get better and better and better. Now, obviously, I know everybody has different, lives, so you manage your time how you want, but I think 2 melodies a day for a week should be doable. That should take you about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, now the 4th one is just to save everything so you can compare your first melody you made to the one at the end. All right, and that is pretty much all there is for this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you how you should be building these melodies each time. All right, so let's go ahead and start the bass. So I'm just grabbing my F sharp minor. I'm just like my default scale that I like to use. And I also thought about actually posting me doing this challenge too. So doing 5 melodies in a row in one video. So if some of y'all want to follow along that way, just let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. If not, I might not post it, but I don't know. I still might. Well, we'll see. But let's go ahead and put our first notes in. So I'm gonna use blue for the bass. All right, and we can just start making a chord. Okay, and this is how I like to start my bass lines. Right, and then you can transpose either one of these. I'm gonna just do the top because it's just gonna be easier. Control down, and then we can delete this A. And we could just drag this over, and then we could pull one note up. And you could choose whatever note you want, but I'm just keep this simple. So now we have our bass line. All right, simple as that. So that's step 1, that's the bass. All right, so now we're on to the chords. So I want you to keep in mind, I am chopping these up a lot because generally I would do both the bass notes and the chords in one step. So a lot of these things I'm gonna show you are chopped up more to just make it simple for everyone of all ages. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So next, let's just throw in our chords, and we're just gonna build chords from these notes. So I'm gonna just copy this, hold shift, click and drag, control up, and I'm gonna just highlight everything, control down, and then let's change the color to yellow. And basically we can just skip every other note within the scale. So skip that note, pull that there, skip this note, pull that there, and we have a F sharp minor. And let's make this a 7th by putting one more. So we're gonna do the same thing with each one. I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. And right here. All right, so let's go ahead and shrink this down so we can see the bass notes too. And let's play it. Wait. There we go. All right, so now we have our chords. So now we're gonna move on to the wiggle, and I'll explain what that is if you don't know what that is by now. All right. All right, next up we have animating our chords, and we use the wiggle or the strum for this. So if you don't know what the wiggle is, it's pretty much going from one note to another note back to the same note. So something like this. So that's what the pattern looks like. Strum, pretty self-explanatory. You just strum it up, or you can strum it backwards or down, whatever, right? And the wiggle the same. You can, go up a note, right? It's up to you. So I'm gonna just show you what it sounds like real quick. Like each one. So if you do a strum, you can do something like this. Let me do it backwards. And this is all up to you. It's all preference. And then we could do a wiggle. All right, you can offset some too, so don't be afraid to do that. All right, so let's pull these back. So I'm gonna use a strum. So we can maybe let's pull this back. Let's do something like this. let's pull this back. Let's kind of mimic this little pattern. Now, just because these chords are here does not mean you can't use other notes. Now, what notes to use? Well, if you look in between, you'll see there are notes in between these notes. These notes you can use. Not all of them will work, but we could just use this B, for example, because this is a chord within our progression, and we can maybe place this in here. All right, and let's offset this A. Let's see what this sounds like. And if you wanted to, you could put a wiggle here. I'm just trying to give y'all some different possibilities. All right, and I'm gonna delete these because I want a little bit more room later. So let's play it one more time. All right, so that is going to be this part. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so now we have the linger notes. Now this is something new. Before we get started, I do want to explain the reason why we animate this is basically to give your brain a spark for a melody. Because if you just play the chords bland, like just straight up chords, it's kind of hard to think of a good melody. So this is why we animate the chords, so it's easier to place other notes in. Because I'm sure after hearing that, you probably like, you got an idea of a note to place. But just want to mention that real quick. So linger notes, they're just notes that support the chords that you already have. So support notes support the melody and like the transition. So a transition could be just, I don't know, any little note to help move into the next, right? But these linger notes, they kind of just, you can just place like one note. So I'm gonna just make these green, right? And it just lingers throughout the chord. It's not meant to really do anything crazy, but just fill in the spaces. So we can just use like, and let's maybe add 2 of them. And we can just copy this like pattern over. Let's maybe do something like this. I'm just fix these lengths. Just see what these sound like, and I'm gonna just shrink this down a little bit. All right, so how do you actually get these notes? Well, if you just look at the chords you have, you already know what notes are in harmony. So if I pull some of these notes up, why do I keep doing that? If I pull some of these notes up, you'll see that they match. All right, you got the A, and then we got this C sharp, right? So I'm not using anything new. This E, right? It's the same exact notes. It's G sharp, right? And we can pull these down. You can see they match up. I'm not doing anything crazy. Right, it may look a little complex right now, but if you really look at it, we haven't even put any new notes in here since we made the chords, right? So those are the linger notes. They're just there to support the chords. So now we're gonna move on to the support notes. All right, so now we have the support notes, and real quick, I'm gonna just pull these bass notes down just so we have more range. So this is what it sounds like now. All right, it just sounds a little bit more full. So these support notes, this is where the melody becomes yours, and this is where you kind of put your own style into it. Because if you really think about it, these chords, like this is just a chord progression. All we did was move notes over. That's all we did. All right, so you gotta think there's other people following this video too. So if you follow exactly, you're gonna end up with the same melody. So this is where you kind of make it your own. So this is where you gotta use your ear a little bit. Let me zoom in. And you can pull stuff up like this if you really want to. You can kind of trickle it down. You could do stuff like that. But I'm gonna show you just, I guess, the real way of doing it without being lazy. So here you just want to trial and error a little bit so you can kind of get a feel. So we can pull this up. And you can kind of get a feel in this area of where you want to put this note. So I like this note personally. Okay. So I'm going to use this one. All right. So then from this note, how do we build a melody from here? Well, you create a chord from this note. So you can go up or you can go down. I'm gonna go down because I kind of want everything to kind of be together. So I'm gonna just pull this over. And then we can utilize our animating techniques and use our wiggle. So we can come back to this note. All right, so now let's move on to this area, and this is going to get a little crazy because it's going to start to look super complicated. So let's see, let's maybe pull this C over. And you're probably wondering how I get to the C. Well, we can pull this down like this, and actually we can take this C and move this down too. Let's make a little dyad right here. And a dyad is just 2 notes together instead of a triad is 3 notes together. All right, sounded pretty good to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and we can just keep moving. And I'm just trying to show y'all what I'm thinking as I'm placing these notes. So let's just copy some of these notes over. Let's do a wiggle here. So let's do something like this. And we could put one right in the middle. So this could be like our wiggle right here. All right, and let's skip and let's take this note and let's pull it up an octave, and we can maybe offset it this way. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so let's continue this a little bit. So I'm gonna copy this over, and then we want a little bit of variation too. I'm gonna pull this right here, and maybe let's do like some flams. And let me zoom in because I think y'all probably can't see that stuff. Let's do some flams. I'm gonna hold Alt and drag so we're not locked to the grid. Let's do a little bit of flam, something like that. I want this a little bit. And we could do one right here. But it'll let me. And maybe let's finish it off with a note down here. Let's see what that sounds like. Kind of like that. All right, I kind of like that. So keep in mind, we still got our melody, so we can kind of combo some things. So those are the support notes. I know it's getting a little complicated, but at this point, this is where you start to make it your own melody. So let's move on to the actual melody now. Okay, so this is the final step, which is the melody. So we started with the bass, and then for you, like when you actually make your stuff, you will actually do the chords and the wiggle or whatever together. So that's step 2. Step 3 would be the lingers, and 4 would be the support notes, and the last one would be the melody. So that in order is how you want to start and finish your melody every time. So I have red for this just so we can kind of see everything. What we could do is just copy this, pull this up, and we don't need to do much for the melody. All we're doing is just add in little cool parts for this to make a complete melody. So what we could do for this one is just make a chord backwards, just like that. And I'm gonna color code those, and we can just offset them. I'm gonna do a basic offset. Let's see what that sounds like. And then let's steal a note from down here. Let's let's do this bass note. So let's take the C sharp. Let's go high. Let's skip down, and then let's go into this G sharp since this is in harmony. And really, that's all I'm doing. I'm just pulling notes up, making a chord out of them, and just placing in notes that are in harmony, just like right here. Okay, so let's make a flam. I want to make sure y'all can see this. Okay. And then we could just maybe offset it. I'm gonna offset this like this then. Gotta do a lot of adjusting. And let's pull back to this E and let's see what that sounds like. And we might have to adjust the flams. I think that's good for this video. I might go in and adjust a little bit to get it to sound how I want, but I think that's good. What can we do now? Let's just copy this over. And where could this be? Right here. And then we could do another flam, but maybe let's pull it to the C. Offset it. Kind of make these notes linger a little bit. And I think that might be good for this melody. So I'm gonna just play it while you can see this. Wait, this sounds. All right, that sounds a little bit better. All right, so here's the whole thing. All right, so you should have a melody at least this complex after this, and then now you can go in and you could change up the sounds. And I'm gonna just try to look for some. I don't know how to look for the favorites. I'm just looking for some sounds real quick. Try this one. I like that sound. But yeah, that's it for this video. Those are the steps you'll take to actually do this challenge. So remember, 2 to 5 melodies a day for at least a week. I'm sure most people can do that. So yeah, that's it. I'll leave the text document in the comments or in the description. That's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you guys liked it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.